real.
Get real. Get real. Get real. Get real.
Welcome to Get Real with Jesse Steele. I'm your host, Jesse Steele. This week we are talking to James Truhls of Butthurt Owens Valley fame. B.H.O.V, for those who don't know, is a Facebook group exclusive to the Owens Valley. It is a place for people to air their grievances publicly. Then people can comment, and chaos ensues. It's hilarious most of the time, and eye-opening to say the least. With over 5,000 subscribers, it is one of the most visited news sources in the area. We will get to Butthurt News in a moment, but first, let's find out more about James and what else he does for our community. From his job as a cafeteria utility worker at the elementary and middle schools to his infamous haunted swamp persona, Bubbles the Clown. This lifelong Bishop resident is well known and respected in the community. With possible political aspirations, as well as a strong advocacy for domestic violence prevention and the local group Eastern Sierra Pride, this interview definitely covers a wide range. Trigger warning for those so affected. During the second segment, we discuss child abuse, domestic violence against women. Now that we took care of some errands, let's get real with James Truhls of Butthurt Owens Valley. Okay, we are here on Get Real with Jesse Steele. It has been 20 years, since that was said out loud.
Bro, that was the first thing that I was going to say when I came in here was get real with Jesse Steele.
I'll get a lot of those. People in the bar and stuff still will be like, hey. And I'm like, dude, I don't even remember that. I'm surprised you guys do.
Right.
But here's my point with this. Get Real with Jesse Steele. I know my name's in the title. Nobody cares about me and doesn't want to hear what I have to say. So we are going to get real with James Truhls.
What up, though?
What up, man? How's it going?
Doing really good today, man.
Cool. Nice. Hey, so let's just get into this.
Sure.
Let's get right to the beginning of this. So you're born and raised here, right?
Raised.
Yeah. What did your parents do?
Let's
really start from the beginning.
Okay. We can break it all the way down. So I was born August 24th, 1978, 5:45 a.m.
Nice.
And I know that because my beautiful, wonderful mother calls me at 5:45 a.m.
Cool.
She's like, this is the time that my baby boy chose to be shown to the world. So mom and dad, mom, she worked in several different places. So, and then dad, obviously, Truhls Concrete.
Yeah.
So they met on Voget Ranch, which is right beneath the Mount Tom out there, past 40 acres. My dad was a ranch hand.
Okay.
And my mom obviously lived out there. And somehow or another, dad's convinced my mom, right? My sweet, innocent mom. And like my dad, you know, he was a rebel. He'd grown up. So somewhere down south, right?
Yeah.
He grew up in Lakeview Terrace.
Okay.
Went to Taft High School.
Okay.
And then they went from there to Bakersfield.
Okay.
And Bakersfield transitioned up here because Grandpa used to take them up here, my Grandpa Truhls.
Okay.
For fishing trips and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
Hunting, all that stuff
Yeah.
as kids. And then Grandpa got a job with, oddly enough, Caltron.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a mold engineer, moldsmith.
Cool. Nice. And that kind of leads us way right into concrete because you do have to make a lot of molds and you're.
So Dad, he, like, in his aspirations, he really wanted to open up like a motor shop, like somewhere where you can bring, your Chevy 350, get it hopped up.
Yeah.
And, mount it in a truck and get it going. So he worked for Steve's Auto Parts.
Okay.
And I guess that wasn't really paying the bills. And Steve was one of the first people to hold me after I was born, which is really neat.
Yeah.
And then he lived on Wild Rose right next door at the time to Steve Yeager Concrete.
Okay.
And then was looking for a new job.
Kind of went for it.
Transitioned. And then the rest is history.
That works. Who was the last person to hold you?
Right now, the last person to hold me would be my sweet Amanda.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so you went into work concrete, right?
I did. So out of high school, my first job was mowing lawns.
Okay.
Right. It was just basically a job that my mom had hooked me up with because she worked at Caltrons. But anyway, she worked with his wife, and she was like, hey, my husband needs help. I know that James is looking for a job.
Yeah.
And that came to an abrupt end when I cut these 2 fingers off at the tip with a lawnmower, had them sewn back on.
We'll just let you at home think about what fingers he's pointing at me right now.
Bro, like, it was so crazy. There was
Pointer in middle, by the way.
There was an incline,
Yeah.
and it was a very steep incline, so I'm pushing it up.
Yeah.
A piece of shit lawnmower, the bag always fell off of it.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I'm pushing uphill. The bag falls off. I make the choice to not turn it off because I've done it at that time, several hundred times.
Yeah.
So the motor's running. I try to put the bag back on. I slip. I open my hand, goes in the shoe.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3 on my index, and 4 locked that one.
Ooh.
And it was only holding on by like a tiny piece of skin down.
Yeah.
And then this one is just
They got it back on.
a lot shorter.
Oh, yeah. See, can't even see its scars.
I mean, that one, like my middles are different.
Yeah. It's totally flipping me off right now. Nice. Okay. So we've gone to there. You moved into that. What did you, before you even get into like jobs and stuff, what is it that you wanted to do when you were in I'm assuming Bishop High School?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did you want to go into and all that? Was it Butthurt Owens Valley?
I fell face first into that one.
Nice. We'll get to that later. Keep listening. It's at the end of the interview.
But originally as a kid, I wanted to be a weatherman.
Mm-hmm.
I loved like watching the news with my dad at night.
Yeah.
Seeing Dallas Rains.
Totally. I remember.
Guys,
Yeah.
like with those funny names coming up. And it just seemed like it would be a fun gig to, be out there just, telling people what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It's funny, the Dallas Rains and stuff like that. I get all the time, especially when I started Get Real with Jesse Steele 20 years ago. One of the producers, I don't remember who, they said to me, Jesse Steele, that's the best stage name. And I said, for what, a wrestler? I'm like, okay, a cop show?
Maybe you're a porn actor.
I'm like, yeah, that's my real name. It's not a stage name.
Right.
Nice. Okay, so Weatherman, that's interesting. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Like not being sarcastic. That's interesting. I've never heard that before.
I would have loved to be.
That's pretty rad, yeah. Okay, well, we'll get you on here at Eastern Sierra now doing some weather.
Dude, let's go.
You're in. I'm doing it.
That's what's up.
All right, cool. Yeah, did we mention that this is part of the Eastern Sierra Now podcast network?
No.
Network. Oh, yeah. We have a building now in Bishop. It's right behind Chase Bank, 163 May Street. Used to be Public Works if you've been around a while.
And it's taking shape, man. Looks good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we put a lot of work into this place. It's been like 6 months. So we are now making this happen. Okay. Is there any adults in your life that inspired, motivated you, or helped you to reach your goals to where you are at this point? That really stands out. Not everybody, because clearly you're going to have 50, but...
Yeah, like I drew inspiration from my family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like my grandparents, God rest all of their souls.
Mm-hmm.
They were like my Grammy, man. She was just such a neat person, loving, accepting person. My grandpa Fix was a very devout Christian. Both him and Grandma Fix were really involved in the Calvary Baptist Church.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a Baptist Christian. Then on the other side of things, I like my outlaw side of the family. My Grammy was in a motorcycle gang when she was 13. Right?
Yep.
Because she grew up in Arkansas. She's just a wild lady.
Nice.
And then when Grandpa got out of Korea, he was in the Korean War. They met, and the rest is history. So I had the best of both worlds sides, from the very structured, family-orientated. And it's not that the Truhls side wasn't family-orientated, because they really, really were. It was just they were a little more wild.
A little wild. Yeah. Well, wild ones have a lot of fun, man. Lord knows I know that.
And both sides, it was my Uncle Steve is just a beautiful human. My Uncle Bud, I really, really love that man. He has one of the most unique voices you would ever hear. And I could just sit and listen to him talk. And he had great stories.
Human beings are really interesting. It's kind of why I wanted to do this show again. Before, we used to be, Wayne's World, Jackass, kind of whatever. Sure. I mean, I was pushing the envelope. Now I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm too broken and old. But I'll still be a smartass. But I think that the real reason I want to get this is more of the name is what stuck with me. I've been thinking about it for a few months, and it's like, Get Real. That's what I'm here to do.
Right.
It's not about doing weird shit. Right. It's not because it rhymes with my name. I want to be able to talk to James or whomever we're talking to and be like, dude, what's real? Tell me about you. Like, everybody knows Butthurt. It's probably the most viewed news source in our area. I really don't think that is it.
So funny how it transitioned.
It's nuts. Yeah. Everybody goes to Butthurt. Like, I'll hear people, it's almost like Butthurt or it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, when I post something, I post it to Butthurt. It just, so does everybody else. It is what it is, bro. And so we'll get to that. I got a couple more things here before we get into the Butthurt thing. So let's get into your work with like school and stuff like that, delivering pizzas, Bubbles the Clown. You know, so let's start with that. We'll start with school. Tell me a little bit about how that's going and how you're working with it.
I just fell into that, man, and it is such a rewarding job that I have I've learned to just not learn, but it's just become such a huge part of my life. Like those kids, you know what I mean? Like basically, I have 2 stepchildren, Connor and Corrigan. Connor's 18 now. Corrigan is working on 16. And I'm super proud of both those boys. Yeah. You know, I came into their lives when they were really young, and I've watched them blossom into amazing humans. So on the other side of that, like I have 800 kids, you know what I mean? Kinder through 8th grade. Yeah. And I have relationships with so many hundreds of different kids and have an impact with those children on a daily basis. And it's, you know, I didn't really realize what it would be taking that job because I just needed a job. Yeah. Right. I had quit my job with the county. I was just done in that, you know, I was just done.
Yeah. The government realm's kind of difficult.
And then, just kind of fell into that one.
Nice. What's your daily life like at school? What do you do while you're there?
So I get to school at 6:30, and then I go open the building, prep for breakfast, welcome the kids, interact with them, do behavior. If you're being bad and you're in my building or around, like I have to help correct that behavior. Yeah. That really wasn't part of the job description, but it's something that I just couldn't help but do. Yeah. Right. And the administration is super they're really happy that I have that role with them because it relieves their role. There's literally like every public school is just underfunded, undermanned. We're out.
I taught for 5 years. I hear you.
I will open up the building. It's a multi-purpose building. So right now we have basketball in there. At this moment, they're doing the winter little celebration or whatever it is tomorrow evening. Gosh darn, I'm sorry guys that I forget what it's called. I just see it on my schedule and I prep.
By the time this posts, it'll be past that, so it's no big deal.
So and once I have everything out, trash cans out, make sure the restrooms are clean, make sure the tables are clean, then it's just greeting the kids and making a difference in their day. Awesome. You know, by name, having them come in. If they're coming in wild and hot, like you can make a huge impact on a child's life just by recognizing them. Like me in school, like especially struggling with my childhood, which was very tumultuous. I just wanted to be seen. That's it. You know what I mean? So the biggest thing that I do is try to be the person that I needed as a kid to the kids now.
That's inspiring as hell. That's exactly what people should be doing. For sure. And I've seen that for years where it's like you need to be a better person than you had. And I don't mean like be a better dad, be a better mom, be a better. I just mean like what you needed, that's what you need to try to give to somebody else. And if you've done that at least once in your life, you succeeded, in my opinion. And you get to do it every day for 800 kids. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. So if they come in hot, I'm just like, hey, man. And like, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Like they'll look at me and I'm just like, if it's too much, I'm just like, we're not going to do that this morning. Okay. Like, remember how to enter the cafeteria and we need to be respectful. We need to be responsible.
Exactly.
So, and that stifles it. You know what I mean? And other than awesome. It's just, if they look like they're having a hard time, just ask them, they're like, compliment them on something. Hey, that's a sweet backpack. Or, like just something, let them be recognized.
Just acknowledge them. That's what every kid wants, is just to be acknowledged, just to get the chance to be them and who they are. And that's great, man. Speaking of being you, I need to skip ahead here. I want to know about Bubbles the Clown. What's going on? You mentioned that you have Bubbles the Clown. I need to know.
Like, this was the first year that I wasn't Bubbles, and it was so hard on me because, where else do you get a chance to scare 600 plus people a night? And like everybody likes, I used to love to scare my mom. Yeah. Right. And I still try not to, but I scare Amanda from time to time, and she hates it. But it's just. It's fun. I don't know why. It's a fun thing to do. So, when I was asked by Corey Yeager, because they had a clown and for whatever reason or another, they couldn't. So I just kind of came up with this character, Bubbles the Clown.
Nice.
Yeah. And my Bubbles voice, man, I didn't do it. Normally I do interviews with Gary Young, and like I would do anything but call him Gary.
Okay.
Jerry Young. And he'd be like, my name's Gary. What? Your name's Barry? You know what I mean? So like I have that voice trying to promote the Haunted Swamp, and it was, you know, it just brought a lot of people, because at that point in time, what was that, like 5 years ago, the clowns, right? The people were on the street as clowns.
I remember that, yeah.
And it was like
I remember thinking somebody needs to dress up as Batman. This is getting intense.
right. It was like a real thing.
Yeah,
so like, I don't know. It was just an absolute, just so fun to do.
Hilarious.
Right. Like, and I took it serious. Like everything that I do, like I take very serious.
Mhm.
My jobs, whatever it is, like I put my whole heart into it.
Yeah.
So when I become Bubbles the Clown, like I don't really like to break character. I like to be Bubbles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like try to figure out who, and it was never kids, it was always adults.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So if they're just like, you know, somebody be like, oh, my wife, she hates clowns. You should have never told me that, man.
Should have said that.
So I like, there's pathways to where you can, like, I would scare her,
Yeah.
right? And be like, you know, I'll see you again. And then like be there.
Ready for the next spot.
And then the third time.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the fourth time, they're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And the fourth time I would just jump out, rah, 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 you know, get them really good. And when they're walking away, I mean, I'll see you again in your dreams. You know what I mean?
You ruined their life forever.
Like it was just,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't like clowns.
Do you remember the haunted castles in Big Pine?
I do.
So my uncle started that. And so my whole life I was a part of it. And I always got to be something, you know.
Sure.
And more times than I can count, I got decked in the face by full-grown men when I was a child.
For sure.
Because they get freaked out.
Yeah.
They're boom. And it'd be like, oh, like I took more punches in the face in there than I've taken in real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, dude. And it's like, come on, man. I'm 12.
I've took some shots, bro.
I was going to say, I bet. Yeah.
I've took some shots.
People hate clowns. I was never a clown.
Right.
Clowns are the worst. And I love it. That's fantastic. All right, let me get to some kid stuff here, and then we'll cut to a break real fast.
For sure.
So two things I want to know with kids. You've worked with youth. You've worked in the school.
Yes.
You've done a lot of that stuff. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges our local kids face today, and what can we do to address those challenges?
So this is, you know, and I don't want to like sound, so you know what, I'm just going to say it because we're getting real with Jesse Steele.
Yeah,
the,
right.
the biggest problem is kids raising kids.
Yeah.
So there was the destruction systematically of the nuclear family,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that started with, and like I'm not misogynistic or sexist at all, but that started with putting women to work.
Yeah.
Right. So they figured we're missing out on taxing half of the population.
Mm-hmm.
We need to promote, you know, these women getting jobs. And it's not that they shouldn't be a stay-at-home mom because that's their duty. They're the woman.
Yeah.
But somebody should be involved in these kids' life, like coming home, seeing somebody, whether it be mom, dad,
Yeah.
grandma.
Not so swamped that you're at work. Every parent is at work and the kid's playing Nintendo.
Right. Auntie, uncle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The nuclear family, once there was that destruction, we just lost out on kids having someone to help them, you know, in everyday life. Because we don't, as kids, you don't know what to do. You need instruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if no one's there anymore, I was a latchkey kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dad was working, my mom was working, we were super poor.
Yeah.
So like if you don't have that anymore, right? And then it seems like parents get younger and younger and younger, right? Like the responsibility of having children is nobody really thinks about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oops, I knocked her up, we have a kid now,
Yeah.
right? It's not like people are planning like bringing a life into this world.
Yeah.
Because none of us were asked to be born, but we were, and we can't pick our parents. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when you're born to like somebody who is young and inexperienced in themselves and not mature, and now with the digital age, right? Oh, I know how to get you to shut up. Here, look at this.
Everywhere you go, you see
Everywhere you go,
toddlers with iPads sitting in restaurants.
And take it away
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Yeah. Freak out. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Right? So it's just, it's a really disturbing thing,
Mhm.
man. Well, I mean, directly into my life, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? My dad was 22, my mom was 19, two
Mhm.
kids. Ricky was on an accident,
Mhm.
right? So they got married, and then I was planned.
Mhm.
And 2 years after I was born, man, they got a divorce, right? And then you're growing up in a broken home,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, what do you do to fix that? How can you even fix that?
Yeah.
Like it's a very sad thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that I've had some issues with in the past with these same types of instances is things like looking at some of the different schools, like poor Big Pine, they don't even have a football team anymore. I mean, there's so many things where you can't get kids to do stuff because they're too busy playing their game or watching their YouTube or whatever, or their parents aren't involved, so they don't feel they need to get involved or volunteer. They don't want to do parades for kids anymore because you can't get them to build a float. I mean, that's how it was back when we were in school, and now it's like you just don't have that stuff anymore. And
one thing that I want to touch on, and you brought up, is the parent involvement.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, like I would go to baseball games alone. You know what I mean? My parents were busy; they were working. But it is so awesome to see the involvement of parents, to see us have a little league, like not baseball, not soccer, but football now, and see the dedication of those parents.
It's true. There's a lot,
and shout out to all those
cheerleaders. I mean, there's
and it's the full nine. So
totally. I was gonna say we were getting negative with that, but the opposite side is there is a lot of power parents that really do try.
It's so
and do get out
seeing, it's like so amazing to see. Like, so just like a huge thank you to all of those parents who are sacrificing. Like, kids are on travel teams.
Yeah.
So every weekend I'm packing up maybe my kid, maybe 3 other kids, and we're going to play football, baseball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful to see, man.
That's cool. That's really excellent. On that good note, we're going to take a break from one of our sponsors. We will be right back. Hey there, Eastern Sierra. It's Jesse. Let me ask you a question. How much is your energy bill each month? It's pretty high, right? Well, with the new climate change bill that passed, there is actually 30% tax rebates in there for going solar. Why is that important? Well, one of our top advertisers is High Point Solar. They were already the best and the cheapest in the area, and if you mention this ad, you get $250 off your purchase. But now, whatever you choose to purchase, you can put in a 30% tax rebate. That means when all is said and done, most likely your bill is less than $100 a month. And once it's paid off, you no longer have bills. So, the second smartest thing you could do, get yourself an electric water heater, an electric dryer, make sure all your appliances are electric, then you don't have bills anymore once the solar is paid off, which is like 7 years. It's not even a big deal. It's like having a car. That's a car that's gonna last for 30 or 40 years, by the way. So what's the first smartest thing you could do? Call Amy at High Point Solar. That's 760-937-5849. Again, 760-937-5849. Or go to highpoint-solar.com and get your free quote today. And don't forget to mention you heard this from Jesse at Eastern Sierra Now. You'll get $250 off your purchase. Trust me, worth it. Tantalize your taste buds and elevate your dining experience at Astorga's Mexican Restaurant, a family-run gym where passion meets flavor. Our authentic Mexican dishes are crafted with love, making each bite a journey south of the border. Immerse yourself in the vibrant atmosphere where the warmth of family hospitality is as palpable as the spices in our dishes. Order online now at AstorgasMexicanRestaurant.com and bring the fiesta to your table. Astorga's Mexican Restaurant, where every meal feels like family. Okay, welcome back. Please patronize. That's the right way of using it. In English, some words are different and they mean different things.
For sure.
I want you to become a patron of all of our different people. That one was Astorga's. The best. Dude. You can't complain.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Astorga's, bro.
It's the best.
Their shrimp fajitas, man.
Oh, dude.
I do no bell pepper, double jalapeno.
Okay.
Sheesh.
Oh, it's the bomb, dude.
It's like they're huge. They're shrimp.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some of these Astorga's boys in here to do one of these and just talk about this. That they've been one of the best. So anyway, definitely patronize them. Speaking of patronizing, have you heard of Patreon? That's a lot of microphones don't like that, and we don't have those little dead cats on here. That's what they're actually called, the fuzzy things.
Right.
So you might be getting a lot of plosives with my Patreon. Patreon. Go check it out. It's patreon.com/Eastern Sierra Now.
The first Patreon I ever subscribed to, Joey Diaz.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Still pay him $1 a month, man.
Dude, for sure. Yeah, I have multiple ones that I just throw $1, man. Yep. And it helps so much on the other end because this takes so much effort. I mean, you can ask James next time you see him. look at all the stuff I've done in here. How much money do you think that cost me? I mean, don't even say it. That's been 6 months of me doing construction, buying microphones, building. It's so much.
And that's just cost. That's not what the value of what you're doing.
No, that's not even paying me to do it.
Right.
It's not. So Patreon is fantastic. It's the best way that you can help out if you don't have a business and want to advertise. If you have a business and you want to advertise, give me a call. info@easternsierranow.com. But if you just want to help out, you can donate $1. Like he said, you can donate $100. Right. Whatever you feel is worth your time for listening to not only this podcast, but everything we do on Eastern Sierra Now. News, weather, all the updates. There's a local events calendar. Have you guys even seen that? There's a local events calendar on there. Every single thing that goes on in Bishop and Mammoth, we have on there. Independence and Lone Pine.
Right.
I mean, that was something that as kids growing up, we never had. Because I remember being like cruising Maine and being like, dude, I don't know what's going on tonight. Or if you could have just been like, oh, check it out. There's something going on at this place. So that's why we invented that and created that. It's been great, dude. You got your mobile app. You got to check that out. So anyway, let's get back to the interview now that we took care of some house cleaning here. So this is going to get a little bit different turn from the Levels the Clown stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you about your role at a recent domestic violence seminar. What events in your life allowed you to empathize with the participants, and was there a message that you hope to convey by being a part of that?
Yeah, man. And forgive me if I tear up.
Yeah, all good.
So
let's get real.
We're getting real, man.
Real, bro.
Jesse Steele.
James Truhls.
And this is episode number 1, dude. I just want to reach out and say thank you so much for inviting me for episode number 1.
Cheers to that.
Like, cheers to that. My Gatorade, your Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Gatorade and Red Bull, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I was invited to the 3rd annual Our Valley in Healing put on by the local tribe, the Paiute tribe, Toyabe, Wild Iris. There was a bunch of sponsors in that. And I, like we touched on earlier, I had a very tumultuous childhood. Having my parents separated. My dad met Susie, who is now his wife.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I'm just going to keep him unnamed, but she met this gentleman, fell in love with him, right? And it didn't take long for that relationship to become abusive. And then it didn't take much long after that for that to become abusive to us, right? So, I mean, like I was tortured as a child. Me and my brother and my mom was, right? Yeah. The first time I was ever knocked out was 6 years old. Like I lived a week with my dad. Dad was never abusive physically, but he would, I love my father, but he was just young and he didn't know what he was saying and the impact that you have on children with words.
Like we were saying before, impacts in every way. Affect the kid. Doesn't matter what it is.
So if the dishes aren't done and your room is clean and he's like, you're worthless.
Yeah.
Right? Like I still hold that, man.
Yeah.
I've had self-confidence issues my whole life because of those words.
Yeah.
And like in my adult life and talking to him about it, he don't even remember doing it, man.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him that he don't.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was 30-something years old.
Yeah.
And working his ass off to try to put meat on the table for me and my brother.
Yeah.
And like he just, he didn't like words carry so much weight with children. And that's real quick touching back onto what I do with the kids, man. Like, I am so careful with my words, right? And like, even if, like, in the behavioral role that I play there, if the kids are doing something that isn't supposed to be done and they're not listening to me and I have to raise my voice, right, and snap them out of it, I take time at the end of that conversation, whatever it is in the correction, to be like, look, I'm not mad at you, right? I want you guys to know, first and foremost, that I'm not mad at you about this. Like, I needed to get your attention, so this is why I use the words that I do, which are very, very choice words, and directly to the point of what we promote down there at the elementary school, which is, respect and responsibility. Right? Safety, respect, responsibility. I'm pretty sure that's the 3 key things that the Bishop Rams promote. So, when I'm stopping them in their behavior, I'm like, hey, we need to think, is this safe? If it's unsafe, are you being responsible? Are you being respectful? Yeah. Right? And those 3 things can, the answer, and it's yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's for adults. You learn that as a kid, but as an adult, none of us treat each other that way all the time.
Right.
And those are good things to just enforce.
Right.
Think that through before you say stuff.
Right.
Because every one of us says stupid shit all the time. You know what I mean? You just say something because you think it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, I really had to slow down my first year there. Like getting overwhelmed. We're going to go back to the domestic violence for sure. But getting overwhelmed with the overstimulation of sound.
Yeah.
Right? It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody, if you want to come down and see my role in the BAC building and see what happens, like, please, guys, come on down, man. But it can be super challenging, especially just getting thrown into it. So there was 3 or 4 different boys, and it like 4th or 5th time during correction.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to come over and I wanted to tell them, I am sick of what's happening here. Right? It came out. I'm sick of your shit. Didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But it just came out.
Yeah.
Parents called. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They went. Parents called in. Me in the office.
Yeah.
You know, with my Gretchen. If you ever listen to this, man, you the best. So Gretchen, my boss. You know, all documented, and like I admitted to it, man. And I'm very sorry that.
Right.
But it did,
and you learned.
And I learned.
Yeah.
But like you have to be so careful with those words.
You do.
So my father was never physically abusive, but there was some things said, you know, on a weekly basis that just scarred me and my brother for life.
100%.
So we would go from him being gone, being absent, you know, because he would leave, you know, at 6 a.m. We would have to, you know, prepare our own stuff, get ready, walk to school. He wouldn't come home until 5 or 6, maybe 7 at night because he's out there doing concrete. You know, so we're latchkey kids. Most of the time in our younger life, we would go over to Grammy's house. She lived over here on North 2nd Street. And she's like, I have her tattooed on my arm. That's how much I love Grammy.
Yeah.
Then we would go with my mom to Big Pine to just, you know, the first time I was ever knocked out was by that monster. And he was beating up on Mom. And I had made a bow and arrow. So I took bamboo skewers, right, shish kebab skewers. And I took some... sewing string, and like I kind of weaved it together, and like that thing you could like it's stuck.
Yeah.
Right? So he's beating up on Mom. I come around the corner, dink, right in his leg, man. That thing went like 2 inches in his leg, bro. Like for real. And he just turned around, back. Right?
Yeah.
So like he would lock us in the closet. He had snakes, he had tarantulas.
Yeah.
You know, so like
yeah, that's terrorizing.
Like I'm still afraid of the dark, dog. 100%. I'm 46 years old in August. I do not like.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I don't.
You know, it's all the stuff that happens as a kid that builds, and you don't even realize it. Maybe years later, you'll go, "Why am I afraid of spiders?" Oh, it's because of this. You know, that's it comes back, man. So anyway, let's get back with the domestic violence thing. So how did that go? And it's clear we know why you wanted to participate now.
Right. Lydia, forehand. She knows what has happened to me as a child, and she reached out to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just, like, it's domestic violence, you know what I mean? Like, it's bred in darkness, you know what I mean? And there's such stipulation that happens behind it and embarrassment that happens behind it. You know, it's really hard to come out and be like, look, I'm getting beat up or, you know, or something like that. So, like, to anybody and everybody that's listening, man, I just want to say it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Because I carried shame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought I deserved it. Like, as a, you know, and it manifested when I was in 4th grade, dude. Like, I thought I deserved it, bro. And no kid deserves that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Or wife.
You know what I mean?
Or husband.
Or dog.
Yeah.
Right. There's all
dogs. Oh, God. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to kick my dog. So, like, you know, we must acknowledge those victims of domestic violence and just let them know that it's not their fault.
Well, it was great for you to participate in that. And it takes strong people to open up and let their weaknesses out for other people to understand, oh, I also can be strong.
Right.
I don't have to be in that position. It's easy for me, who was not beat up as a child, to go to someone and say, oh, you're fine. Well, that doesn't say anything. But you, who was letting him know, that's a bigger impact.
It's just such a thing. It's so hard to break that cycle, you know, because violence begets violence. You know what I mean? And like, the craziest thing about like that statement is how Mom got away from Bill, right? Is like, my mom's a straight G. So like, she started buying him things, right? So he wouldn't beat us up.
Yeah.
Money ran out.
Yeah.
So she started embezzling from the company that she worked at and leaving a wild ass trail.
Yeah.
Because if she got caught, which she wanted to, we would go with Dad.
Yeah.
Right. And like my dad
get you away because she didn't know how to get out.
So once she got out, he came back around. She wanted no part of him. She met another man who became my stepfather for 9 years. James David Farmer. Love that man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out between them. They split ways. But once, we came home, Bill was in the house.
Yeah.
Right? He had broke in. He was in the bathroom, hiding in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Whatever for reason or another. And Jim had followed my mom home. Right? So we come in. It's me and my mom. Bill's down the hallway. Jim comes in.
Yeah.
And like they're both 6+ footers.
Yeah.
Who throw hands, man. Like the monster was well known through the Big Pine community of being the baddest mother in the Owens Valley.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people called him Ogre.
Yeah.
Like that's who, you know what I mean? So like Jim was like, all right, dude, like come out, man. Come at me.
Yeah.
And Jim whooped him up. You know what I mean? And like, so maybe even the first time somebody got him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Jim, like through violence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like broke that cycle. So it's a hard thing to break, you know.
It
what
is.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like me growing up in violence, like I had my first experience in violence in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody told me they were going to punch me in my face. I punched them first.
Yeah.
Right. Just because, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's
You experienced that, and that was what you were taught, and that's rough.
with all of that about my parents being said, like,
Yeah.
ultimately, I really, really, really want every listener, my parents especially, to know
Yeah.
that I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Right. For all of that.
Right.
Right. Because like there's no manual to life.
Totally.
It's the first time I've ever done it.
Everybody's doing the best they can.
Right.
Right.
So, when you're in those situations, you're coming home from a stressful day, speaking about my father.
Yeah.
Like, and I've caught myself saying things that, well, not caught myself, but got reminded by my kids. Just be like, hey man, remember when you said that?
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of them for being able to use their words.
Yeah.
And bringing it back up. And I'm just like, I said that? And they were like, yeah. And I really had to, try to trace back to think if I did use those words and what I did use.
Right.
Right. And then with my mom, like, Jews, like the thing that I didn't say about that in the midst of that story was like, that dude was going to kill us.
Yeah.
He said, if you leave, right. He told my mom, if you leave, I'm going to find you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your kids.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. So it's, and the craziest thing about that, when I was talking to mom about that relationship when we were older, the craziest thing about like an abusive relationship is there isn't the absence of love. Love is present. And love is like the promise that, it might get better. So
Yeah.
with all that being said about the folks, man, I just, I really wanted to get that out there and just be like, hey man, life is life. And that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But like through all of this, I just, again, I just want to thank the Paiute tribe for reaching out to me and letting me speak, because that was really, really powerful, man.
Yeah. And hopefully you getting that chance helps some other 12-year-old not throw fists, or 2nd grade or whatever whatever age you were at that point. It's, I don't do that.
6, 7 years
But
old.
that's nuts. And so this is hopefully really great. So that's super positive. Another really positive thing I wanted to touch on, so we can keep things going here, so we don't have a 4-hour interview, is a much more joyful event, the Pride Rally. So you are a strong advocate for Eastern Sierra Pride, as are we here at Eastern Sierra now. We're 2023 sponsor, really a cool thing. Let's hear about your drive and the passion for inclusivity and diversity.
So like there's no like manual to be a human, right? And it doesn't, like, you're attracted to who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
Since birth, right?
Yeah.
And so like, let's just skip over the gender roles.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it is, and what it is what it is. And how does that affect me? It doesn't.
Right.
I don't care if you want me to say that you're a potato. Okay. That's what you are.
Cool.
Right? It does not affect.
Doesn't affect you. That's how I feel about it too.
So I don't care. I
Right.
grew up not caring. Like back in the day, I have friends who were in the closet that we all knew were homosexual, or they like same sex.
Yeah.
Right. And it didn't matter. They were rad people.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Absolutely.
I just loved them. I grew up loving them, and and to this day, I don't care what your sexual orientation is, as long as it's not like predatory.
Yeah, as long as you're not hurting someone else,
Right.
or emotionally or physically, I could care less what you're doing.
I got involved just because a person like me, I get labels because of who I am growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up very redneck.
Mm-hmm.
I always listened to hip hop, so I had that gangster version mixed in,
Mm-hmm.
right? So hunting, fishing, listening to rap music. I bought my first rap album in 1986.
Yeah.
So, like, having a father who was, a Republican, like, and I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I've been a voting libertarian for 16 years.
Yeah.
Right. Because third party is the only way we can get change. But gosh, man, like looking the way that I do and supporting, the Pride event, it changes people who are afraid to speak their mind. Right. Because like the stipulation, like, oh, you support those,
Yeah,
I do, man. Yeah, I do, because they're great people.
absolutely.
Straight up, man.
Yeah. And I think there's a big change that's happened in the Eastern Sierra in the last handful of years, really. But it's gone from more of a conservative red state to more of a blue thing. Sorry, it's true. And it's voted that way. And now there's a lot of more, like, for instance, Stephen, with the town council. Everybody loves Stephen. It's so amazing. He's elected in there. It wasn't like somebody said, oh, let's get a gay guy. Yeah. No, he's brought in and he's fantastic.
Bro.
Speaks his mind, says what he wants.
Love that dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have more Stephen stories than I could ever tell.
I
love
love
that guy.
you, Stephen.
But yeah, he's the best. So that's wonderful. And I love Pride. It's great to see people get the chance to feel inclusive, feel seen. Like we were talking about with kids before, you need to be acknowledged and have the safety to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do without having to be choosing the word maybe not correctly, molested in any way.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so that's really cool. So it's cool to see that you're an advocate of that. Speaking of that, before we go to our next break, and then after our break, we'll be back with Butthurt Owens Valley information.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to know, you mentioned to me that you might be interested in running for town council or even the position of mayor someday. What's the thoughts behind that?
It just kind of like people had hit me up, like, how come you don't run for mayor? You should be the mayor. And it's just like my role in the community. People, like, for whatever reason or another, they really enjoy who I am and what I represent. I always speak the truth. I'm never gonna not say what I feel, right? And I'm a born and raised Bishop local. Like, this valley, this town means so much to me. And moving forward into that role, if and when it comes to me, I would love that responsibility and getting with the community and providing the needs the direction that I would like to see this community go.
Absolutely. I think in the leadership positions there, especially if you look higher than, so you get to like Senate, Congress, that kind of stuff, everybody just says what they're either paid to say or what they have to say because the person running there, the GOP or the Democrat, it doesn't matter what it is. What they tell you to say is what you say. Right. I see you as a person that's going to say exactly what you feel. And I think that's what creates change, whether it's good or not. Maybe you have some stupid backwards idea that you put out there and you're fighting for, and the rest of us are like, what an idiot. Right. It doesn't matter. Right. You're trying to make change because you're being true. And that's what the spirit of Get Real is all about. So I think that's great.
On a daily basis, like, I treat everyone that I come into contact with the love and respect that every human deserves.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well said. Let's cut to a break on that. Well said there, James Truhls. We'll be right back.
Winter air service to the Eastern Sierra is right around the corner. Advanced air service will begin on November 22nd and fly through April 29th, 2024. Catch a flight to or from Carlsbad or Hawthorne LAX on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, or Monday, direct into Mammoth Lakes. United Airlines will fly daily December 21st through March 30th to San Francisco and Denver, direct to Bishop. Get more information on air service into the Eastern Sierras at visitmammoth.com/flying.
Mammoth Lakes.
Oh, okay. Welcome back to Get Real with Jesse Steele, where we are getting real with James Truhls.
What up, dog?
One more thing I really want to make sure we hit before we get rolling here is if you want to know more about when these things are going to happen, who's coming up next week, just different podcasts. We have multiple different podcasts. Just a Minute with Amy Smith, which is a political podcast where people that are jumping out for throwing in their hats in the ring for politics, like it might be you. What we do is we cut on. Amy has a show where she interviews them, gives them all the questions beforehand, but you only get 1 minute to answer. So we can't have that political rant for 3 hours.
Love that.
1 minute. And it's on the screen. I cut you at 1 minute and we move on to the next question. It went great last election. So that'll be starting this election season now. That's going to be great. But if you want to find out about these, just go to easternsierranow.com. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a thing that says email, subscribe. All you got to do, put your email, hit go, boom. Every single thing we post on Eastern Sierra Now, press release, weather, doesn't matter what it is, you get sent that in your email. You'll never miss anything. You're going to be the most informed person in the Valley.
Love it.
Anyway, all right. The other way to be the most informed person in the Valley is by joining the group But Hurt Owens Valley. I know that's what you're all listening for here. You want to see what is going on with that. So James is the founder, one of the founders of But Hurt Owens Valley.
Well, actually, you know what? I inherited it, man.
Yeah.
So the founder was Scott Stoner.
Scott Stoner, okay.
Right? And he based the group on, I think it's, and sorry, Scott, if I can't pronounce that stupid town right that you grew up in. I think it's Vincennes or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Iowa or some dumb state back there where it's flat, but
Where they're all butthurt.
but like,
in the
dude,
mountain.
like he pretty much modeled it after that one.
Okay.
Right? And like that one is wild, bro. That one, like when I took it over, I didn't want to have the toxic environment, right? Like photoshopping dicks in people's mouth, like all of that talking like just,
Yeah.
So I had to come up with some rules.
Well, it's pretty clear how I'll read you the rules that I wrote down here from what you guys have just in the About section when you first get on Butthurt page.
Yeah.
So this is a forum for free-thinking individuals. What are you butthurt about? What grinds your gears? This is the place to post about it. Even if you are that race, no bigotry of any kind, even words that were previously used. If it is borderline, you will be ban-hammered. We're going to get into ban-hammer in a second. If you call out an admin in a derogatory way, you will be ban-hammered. If you ask me to ban-hammer you, I will do so and block you from the group forever. We are trying to keep the group from this type of nonsense.
Yeah.
As of late, this shit has gotten out of hand. If you won't post that stuff on your personal page, you should not post it here.
Right.
So it kind of says it all.
Well, when I was making those rules, dude, it was a jungle out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
like people using racial slurs.
Yeah.
Like people hiding behind fake profiles.
Yeah.
Right. And like not really necessarily like being transparent in
Yeah.
who they were.
Yeah.
Right. So like being anonymous like that, you can say whatever the fuck you want to.
That's what the
And
problem comes in.
there's no like repercussions for those things.
Yeah.
Right. Which is disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So much of that stuff will happen on there. I've seen you guys ban-hammer people all the time for things that are just ridiculous.
Yes.
And it's like, come on, man. That's not the point. See, Butthurt, I would argue that Butthurt Owens Valley is the most used news source in the Owens Valley, in the Eastern Sierra, probably. And in all honesty, so many people go to that, way more than I have. And I have a lot. And it's way more than that. And I know when I'm looking for something, I go to Butthurt to see who's talking about it. And then from there, I'll try to figure out what the news story is. So it really is. Everybody loves it. So my question about that is, what is it about Butthurt Owens Valley that makes people want to go there versus the like living happy in Owens Valley or the Eastern Sierra now or whatever it is we're talking about?
Sure.
What makes you want to go there to find out stuff? Is it human nature? Is it the that you want to see someone get hit by the car? You know what I mean? Is it what do you think?
So there's that side of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to see somebody get hit by the car,
Right.
Because
Right.
a lot of those posts just throw it out there, man. Whether it's got not necessarily gossip, but what's going on in somebody's lives. Some of these members, and we just crossed 5,500, right? It's 5,500.
I wrote that down. I was going to say, yeah.
Right. So like, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you everybody who is a member. I'm really trying to be as positive I can with that group.
Mhm.
But like, there's those, the aspects of like people, drinking Facebook, like my boyfriend, and so there's that part of fulfilling the drama that you like. Most people want to, see get hit by the car. So it's, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's just a crazy thing that I really just fell into.
It's kind of like woven itself into the fabric of our like local culture because you get people that'll say things like, hey, butthurt or it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I said, I check all the time to see what's going on. If I haven't heard about something, somebody says, oh, was there a car crash or something? I'll check butthurt because people 9 times out of 10 are going to jump on. One of my favorite things about butthurt is that it's a pain in the ass, by the way, too, is that you have to put butthurt in your post.
Yes.
And so I have to rethink what I wrote every time I post something because it's like I have to make it work. But that kind of ties it home, and it's great branding.
So I made that rule just because a lot of people were starting to use the page just because they're not getting likes on their own page.
Yeah.
Right. So they would post pictures or comments or something. So like I just wanted to make sure that we kept it in the direction that I want it to go.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you have to be silly enough to be like, oh, are you butthurt or I'm butthurt, or reword your thought into to make a post on that group, like it cuts down on the nonsense,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, and you're posting stuff that's actually about being butthurt,
Right.
about something that happened or something that's
Right.
going on that's stupid.
Right.
One of ours that we posted was about like why are the Kmart buildings empty,
Still,
and we posted and so many hits from butthurt from that, thousands, 7,000 probably hits just through butthurt, and that's just because, and that's deservedly. We should all be pissed about that.
bro.
Come on, man. Yeah, it's stupid. And then go read that if you want to see. It's Tanner Rush wrote it. It's on Eastern Sierra now. You can find it.
Article.
Yeah, it came out really great. And thank you for posting that for us. That was great. It helps a lot. But I think that's the point of butthurt is you get the chance to, I don't want to say the underbelly because it's not the underbelly, but it's like you get the chance to come at it from like a more human perspective as opposed to, like, okay, let's make this nice and say it politically correct and all that. It's like, no, I'm just going to say what I think.
Right.
And then people get the chance to argue.
Right.
And then that's the other side to butthurt.
Right.
You get 400 comments of people arguing about their opinion back and forth.
And like everybody has their own opinion, man. And like I want to respect everybody, like what they're feeling at the time of that comment.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all like, unless it goes the direct, like into like directs, like bullying.
Yeah,
or
you're
like,
breaking rules. I mean, you have a whole list of rules there.
we have them for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So like, I just kind of let it go,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always the post and delete.
Yeah.
So like, I really try to get on there and grab some screenshots and just so we can keep that.
Do you have any favorites that you can remember of all time? That's just like, this might have been the best post we've ever done.
I mean, and how many years have I been the admin?
It's been a while.
8.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. There's just
Anything that stands out, one that you hilarious.
too many. I mean, like, I don't know, man. There's too many, bro.
If you think of one, we'll go. But you can just jump in and say it, and we'll move on to another question. But yeah, that's one that I'm really interested in. So my biggest question about butthurt Owens Valley, and just from coming as a reporter standpoint, is do you think that it has brought more positive or negative attention to the area, and how would you describe its overall impact?
So I think it's a good thing, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't keep it, right? It was in the negative light, and that's why I changed it from what it was into what it is. I did not like the direction it was going.
Yes.
I wanted to be as positive as we can with it, and recently that has developed into me, having the giveaways, right? So
Tell me about that too. Yeah,
so every month, I have some paid advertising.
Okay.
So they pay me X amount of money. I take that money, which is my money, and then I just give it back in the community by buying a quart of wood and
Oh, that's great.
And having a raffle. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Yeah, I noticed that, and I wanted to ask you about that. That's really cool. And so you're taking something that can inherently be negative because people want to go on and complain and turning it into a positive, and that's cool.
And like since Jump Street, you know what I mean? Like, it was like parking is always a huge thing. Yeah. Right. The parking poodles. I think Glenn Clark, Love Glenn. I think he deemed them parking poodles, but like. When you're parked out of pocket, bro, like you get called out on it. Totally. I mean, and it's a great way to
keep you honest.
You know whose truck that is.
Yeah.
and I myself and so many other people, like I cannot park wrong. Yeah. Right. My truck's license plate says Truhls.
Just Truhls. Yeah.
It is a big giant silver truck.
Yeah.
Like you can't miss it. So, and everybody, they know my Impala, they know my wife's car. So it's like it just keeps people in line. And more than anything, I think it does keep, some aspects of things. It maintains order within the community. So I really think it's beneficial.
Speaking of that, here's a good question for that. Some cultural phenomena, this is from Rusty the Robot again, by the way. Some cultural phenomena can be divisive. How do you think butthurt Owens Valley has affected community cohesion? And have there been any instances where it has sparked positive conversations or changes?
Like, promoting the Pride Rally, right?
Yeah.
Promoting the domestic violence, there's so many things that I try to promote, right? So like, whether no matter what it is, if it's local, you know what I mean? I pump it out there. Like if it's raffles for kids who are sick or whatever it is, like I want more traction to those people, and we can get it. Because, we got 5,500 people on that thing.
Yeah, you've got the people going there. Yeah, that's great. That is positive. Another thing with Butthurt Owens Valley is, I mean, there's a certain level of humor or satire. All of it. I mean, everything. And we all think that's the best part of it. In my opinion, it's hilarious. Yeah. So that's why I want to watch it. Do you think that serves as a form of social commentary or even a view on the Owens Valley of like who we are as a people based on what you see daily through that? And does that lead to more of a, oh God, we're all depressed and sad? Or is it more of a, okay, we're all just kind of funny and getting along and, doing what we got to do?
So Bishop is such a melting pot now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Social media, like it used to be like nobody really knew about Bishop.
Right.
But like all of a sudden Instagram, these social media platforms come out, people take pictures. Where is that? Oh, it's in Bishop. And we're like, this is the gem of California, is the Eastern Sierra. The Owens Valley. It's one of the most unique. And now some of them getting to be a nice cultural diversity. You have your Native Americans, and then it's very unique. A lot of people don't even know that there are natives.
Yeah.
Right. People from the city, people who aren't, used to being around Native Americans are just like, well, I thought that was something that, you see on TV. Like they're, are they around? Yes. And they're a huge part of this community. Right. So like the diversity that we're starting to get, especially with like, all of the trust funders coming up here and buying houses. So you're getting more and more people. It's becoming more of a melting pot. And B.H.O.V, I wanted to be the voice of that diversity.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm kind of off track here.
No, it's all right. Voice of diversity works, man. That's exactly what I was going for, is what do you think its significant role is in that? And that works. It kind of ties into the next question, too. So you personally, James, as an advocate for positive community impact, do you think B.H.O.V aligns with the overall ethos of building a stronger and more connected community? Or do you see areas where it might have room for improvement in the future?
I definitely see, I try to keep it pretty tight, you know what I mean? And I want it to be, like if there's a time where I think that it's not serving its purpose anymore in a positive way, I will take the time. I will delete all 5,000 plus members and get rid of that group.
Yeah.
I promise you I will.
That's your responsibility. I think that's great that you hold that.
It's sometimes like in the past I've let it become so stressful to me because I would get so many messages like, why are you letting this happen?
Yeah.
How come you deleted my post? Rah, 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 rah. I'm going to get my lawyer. You banned me. I'm going to, and it's like, yeah, man, I did. And it's just like, bro, like if you catch that ban hammer, right?
Yeah.
Like, I forget who nicknamed it. I think it was the OG creator, Scott Stoner.
Yeah.
Love you, Scotty. But if you catch the ban hammer, man, like it's for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? It's not because I don't like you. And maybe I don't like you.
Yeah.
Right? And that had a lot of the influence in it.
Yeah.
If I don't like you, right? Like, you need to check yourself.
Yeah, you did a reason for it. It's not just that you just like them.
It's whether it's the disrespect that you give to me or the disrespect you give to somebody else that I know about, that you don't know that I know about.
Right.
Right? Because I love everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really, like I said, I give everyone the respect that every human deserves.
Absolutely. And that's what we all should be doing. And that should be the base. It shouldn't even be an aspiration.
You wake up and you have a choice, man.
Yeah, totally.
You wake up and you have a choice.
Agree completely. Let's get one more question in here, and then we'll wrap this up with James Truhls. So, looking ahead, do you foresee Butthurt Owens Valley continuing to play a role in the cultural landscape of Bishop? Yeah. And you kind of answered that a little bit. And how would you like to see it evolve? What potential positive contributions do you think you can make moving forward? So, there's basically, what can you do, or do you have any plans to see something else that maybe you haven't done in the past? And do you plan on doing this forever? Is it just a flash in the pan? It's been a couple of years. It's cool. Or is this hey, people really need this, and this is something that's going to happen until it gets to the negative, like you said?
Right. And I'm never going to let it go there. So, like, my envision of what's going on with, like, where I would love to see Butthurt is, I started the B.H.O.V giving, right? And that was kind of depending on sponsors.
Yeah.
People were hot on it at the beginning, and then it just dried up. You know what I mean? Like, there's 5,000 members, bro. So, like, even if the active members, which I want to say is, like, scratching around, like, 1,800, 1,900.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if you give $1, right?
Yeah.
And like, that money, I swear to God, I will show you every red cent.
Yeah.
I will put that directly back into the community in one way or another.
Absolutely.
Right? And like, that is a positive change.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the direction that I wanted to go. I would love to have sponsors, have I did make a TikTok. It would, or YouTube videos, kind of like Jimmy Darts,
Okay.
right? Or Big Dog TV,
Gotcha.
right? I would love to have it catch fire, catch wind,
Yeah.
get real money,
Yeah.
and give away real things. Walk up to somebody and be like, here's a MacBook or whatever it is. Like, there's a gentleman, and I forget his name, but he's like, I get you this. What do I give the next person?
Mm-hmm.
It would be the funnest thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
Right.
To walk up to somebody that needs it and hear.
Or just like we're cold. Like, it's cold right now. So that's why I wanted to give away the cords of wood.
Yeah.
And if like that's going to go next month, like I realize that I'm being biased to people who don't have wood burning stove.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're in that raffle and you got a pellet stove, or you don't, and you're running like straight electric heat like I do.
Yeah.
Right? Like we keep our house warm with gosh darn, plug-in wall heaters.
Yeah.
Right? Our electric bill is insane.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to put $400 toward your electric bill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like I don't want to exclude anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's cord of wood just because it's easy to put that. But whatever their heating source is, that's what the gift
I didn't
is.
even think about that until somebody was like, oh man, I got a pellet stove. And I was like, dude, why didn't I think of that?
Just chop the wood up, make pellets out of it. Come on, MacGyver. Nice, dude. Sounds like you're a pretty giving soul, and you've been around the block a couple of times and really have your heart in the right place for the community and a love for this community. And it's pretty safe to say that you're going to be sticking around here and hopefully running for town council. So that'd be great, man. So, Butthurt, one last thing I want to talk about. You guys have some merch, right? Stickers, that kind of stuff?
It just kind of became, I'm a really busy person.
Yeah.
Right? I have multiple jobs. I do a lot of different things. So, like, I'm trying to find, like, an online store that will take care of all of it, like, shipping and everything, right?
Yeah.
So, we put the designs out there.
Yeah.
Whether, beanies, hats, like I was hit up by so many different females, for underwear.
Yeah,
right.
Nice.
For bikinis, you know what I mean?
Right across the butt. That's B.H.O.V.
Like, dude,
I like it.
So like, like shirts, sweaters, and like that would be a good way to get it out, for like people going somewhere else. Like, what is B.H.O.V? Oh, it's it's a local group.
Yeah.
And like that would be a good way. I really want to try to keep it as local as possible.
Right.
But if accepting other people into this group who are not from the Owens Valley gains traction, and gives me the opportunity to have bigger sponsorships, and give away things, then that's the way the direction's gonna go.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. All right, man. James, it's been great having you here. Thanks. It's super enlightening conversation.
Thank you.
And we've known each other forever, but I don't think we've had a conversation like this. So it's great to actually just get to know a little bit about your past and stuff. So that's badass, bro. How can people reach out to you if they need to, or they want to learn more about any of the things you're doing?
If you would like to become a sponsor, and I really want to get as many sponsors as possible. Right now I have 2.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many businesses that can. And it's a tax write-off, y'all. Like, it's tax season. If you're looking to dump some money for a write-off, like, by all means, I'm still working on getting it that, a nonprofit. Like, I'm trying to follow all the steps possible to create a legit, because right now it's just my word.
Yeah.
Right. You give me money, like, and I'll show everybody every last red.
Oh, totally.
But, I would love to have bigger sponsors. We have huge corporations here.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Manor Markets, the High Country Lumbers, the Vaughnses.
Yeah.
Right? Not just local, like you like mom and pop shops, which, with Sundial being one of my bigger ones, Back Alley, shout out to the Back Alley.
Fantastic.
But there's so many other places that can donate, and we can make a real difference in this community, guys. Like, not just one cord of wood, but like we can give away all kinds of things. People, if somebody needs a new vehicle, if some, there's so many things that we can do, right, to create a positive and better Bishop. Right.
Well, definitely count me in. I'll sign up as an advertiser for sure. And if you do go nonprofit, I'll sign up to be on the board.
All right. I love that. Real quick, if you're looking to get at me, man, just hit me up on one of the messengers, Facebook, Instagram, something like that.
Spell your last name because it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it is a constant cluster. So Truhls, James Edward Truhls, Truhls. Trulzee at gmail.com, Trulzee at gmail.com. And then, I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook. I got that tiki-taki going.
Okay.
For all those people out there getting ticked up.
Yep. All right, so your homework when you leave here is to figure out what your favorite butthurt post of all time is. Get it to me, and then I'll say it in my outro here in about. You guys will hear it in about 3 or 4 seconds, but it might be a couple of days.
All right, man.
All right, thanks, brother.
Thank you much, love, dog.
Hell yeah. Thank you so very much to James Truhls for being my first guest back after a 20-year hiatus on Get Real with Jesse Steele. He really opened up there about some hard stuff to talk about. And that's the idea behind the show. Let's really dig into people and see who they are and what they're all about. He's a great guy and he does a lot for our community. James did, in fact, hit me up with his favorite type of post on Butthurt Owens Valley. There's too many to pick from just one, he said. His favorite posts are when someone complains and then it backfires. Like, as an example, I'm butthurt about the service of this restaurant that just opened. Then the members of the restaurant let him have it. Those posts tickle the shit out of him is what he said. All right, thanks for that, James. Thanks for running Butthurt. We all enjoy it. A little chance to get out there and let things rip. Okay, that does it for me here on Get Real with Jesse Steele this week. Please download the Eastern Sierra Now mobile app to get access to our entire Eastern Sierra Now podcast network. We will be adding more and more amazing local programming in the next few weeks. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. I'm about to go get real with my blow-up Costco hot tub. I do see the irony in that statement.
Get real.